Hi there, welcome to the channel. In this video, we're going to paint a shark. We're going to be using acrylic paint. So let's get started. So you want to sketch out the shark, and you can find this reference photo on my Pinterest if you would like to sketch the same one and use the reference photo. And you can also see we have the reference photo up here. So let's look at the reference photo first. That's the first step that we usually do before we start painting. And what I like to do is put in the dark values first. So let's grab a brush that will work well for that. And let's start with a size 4 Filbert. A Filbert, if you don't know, is just, it's like a flat brush with a curved tip. So let's add some water here. And looking at those darkest values, let's use some Payne's Gray. Payne's Gray is a great color because it has a bluish tint, but it's very, very dark. So you can use this instead of black. So you can see right here, he has a lot of dark pigment on the end of his tail. And put that in very carefully using the tip of the brush so you can get some finer details, and it looks dark around the edge. Okay, and then a little bit more. You can see he has quite a bit of darkness right here around the top of that fin, and he has darkness right here and then along this edge of the fin. And that value here is not the darkest values, so we don't need to do that. Right around this line, this curve here, he has some of the darker values, and of course the eye. Let's just skip over the eye for right now. There's a nice defining shadow right here. And then up around the top. And the top dorsal fin also has some darker shades right here. Okay, so then step back and see if you like the way that looks. You can rinse off your brush, and let's grab a larger brush. Let's stay with a Filbert, but use a larger size. This is a size 7. And remember, our brushes aren't always universal with the sizes, so just use something that kind of fits the size of your sketch. And let's put down a base layer here. So what we could do is mix some colors. Let's grab some ultramarine blue and maybe a little bit of teal, and see if that gives us a mid-tone. Sorry, that's not teal, that's cerulean blue. So ultramarine is a warm blue and cerulean blue is our cool blue. And then let's kind of put a nice base layer of the shark, a nice mid-tone. It's kind of an electric blue shade that we have here. I want to add quite a bit of water just so I can put down a nice wash almost. This is my first time using this paint, and I'm hoping, I was using the craft paint before, so I'm hoping that this is a little bit higher quality. And I can sort of tell so far that the pigment and the paint is a little stronger than what I'm used to. So whenever you try new materials, sometimes there's a little bit of an adjustment period, so just be patient with yourself. Okay, let's fill in this fin in the bottom. And then a lot of the shark along the bottom, you can see that he is white, but it's actually not white. It's actually a very pale shade of blue because it is white, but the reflection of the water makes it appear blue. Okay, hopefully we didn't lose our sketch too much there. And let's fill this in lightly so I can still see my sketch marks. Okay, so I'm seeing a lot of gray tones in this shark. So that might be a more realistic tone to show up, would be the gray. Okay, so step back and assess your work. See how it looks, and let's mix up a gray tone. To do that, you're gonna you wanna take some black first. And to make a black, we can mix the Payne's gray with the Van Dyke brown and mix those together to get a little bit more of a black shade. And then let's add some white to make a gray. And that's just a titanium white. And I want it to be a darker gray than that. Let's add some more Payne's gray. Okay, so I like that shade. It's a nice mid-tone. So then let's go in and add this color to parts of the shark where you see like a mid-tone gray shade. And I can put some on the fin here. Try not to cover up too much of that dark shadow that you made, but we can always go back and put the shadows in later. More shadows if you need to, because you're always adjusting your tones and adjusting your lights and darks as you paint. Put some up here. Okay, so then we want this to be kind of a fast sketch, so we're not going to do too much detail. But I want to blend this part of the tail a little bit. And you can just do some blending here. I love to blend. I'm a big blender. So add a little bit of water, and with your damp brush, you can just go around and do some blending. Okay, so next you can grab that straight Payne's gray and just use the tip of your brush to put the mouth of the shark. Very carefully, just put that shadow where the mouth is. Okay, and then I'm going to rinse that brush. Let's grab a small fine detail brush. This is a spotter. It's a size 0 spotter. And this brush is really great. It's really small. It has a precise tip, and it's great for painting in eyes and details of the face. So you can see that he has black around the eye. And then there's some white that goes around that. I think I made it a little bit too big to put white around it, so let's let that dry. And you can go take your Payne's gray and just kind of refine some of the lines that you made. You can make this very faint, make it a little bit longer. Okay, and then I see a lot of that light blue underneath. There's some shadow here, so we can just kind of dry brush in some of that shadow. Just stippling, which I consider stippling, just kind of dancing the edge of the brush over the paper. Okay, so that looks good. Let's add some of these. If you look carefully, you can see that there's some kind of spots on the shark. Let's see if we can take some white, mix it with some of that gray that we had mixed to get kind of a light gray tone. And then let's put some of those lighter midtones. You can see some highlights here along the fin, and you can see a kind of a pretty light streak right along here. And if you're having trouble seeing that, use the artist trick of squinting your eyes, and that should help you to see the different values a lot better and see the shadows a lot better. So then take some of that light gray, and you can see he's got a lighter stripe, a darker stripe, and then a lighter stripe here that's almost like a purple shade. And then after that, he has those circles. I don't know if they're actual spots on the shark, which would be kind of neat if it was. I can't tell if it's spots or if it's like the reflections of the water. So see if you can make that kind of effect. See if you can go around and make some ripples in these spot-like shapes. And then you can see quite a big highlight right here underneath that fin. I do see I need to go back and put a little bit more darkness on there and a little bit of a lighter shade on the center of the fin. That's going to give it some three-dimensionality. Okay, so I think that's looking pretty good. I could see also he has some gills right here, which I kind of didn't even put into my sketch, but you can just put a few lighter stripes there to make the impression of the gills. Okay, and let's rinse off the brush. Let's go with a flat brush. This is a size 8 flat brush, and that will work well. And let's put in some of those lighter shades along the bottom. So it's a very light blue, so we'll get a little bit of blue mixed with that white. And then go underneath the shark and just put that lighter shade underneath. And I'm using a little bit more white here. And then the top of the mouth is fairly white, so you can add that, put that in as white. And that's a little bit light under there. Okay, so that looks pretty good. It's a little bit impressionistic, which is fine. And let's grab our detail brush again and go back in and paint around the eyes. So take some titanium white and just carefully paint. If you look closely, it's only on either side. It's not all the way around. It's like on the right and the left side. So carefully put that white mark in there. Be careful that I don't get any water drops. Okay, so that's about how it appears. And I can add a little bit of white to just bring that mouth shape down a little bit because I made it a little too pronounced. And he needs a nose. So you could add, I would grab a brush that has a tip that kind of matches that exact size and shape, which this size 1 Filbert will do. Grab a little bit of that gray tone and just see if you can use one stroke. And just put that nose in there. Okay, that looks good. And I'm noticing, well, I want to let some of those whites dry first. So next you can take the size 1 Filbert and take a little bit of a darker shade and then see if we can put those spots in. Just kind of make little dabs to do the spots. Okay, that looks good. So you could add, mostly we've used grays and blues, and if you look at the color, it almost has like a pink shade or a purple shade. So let's have a little fun with color and see if we can add a little bit of a pinkish purple shade in here. So I'll take the size 4 Filbert and let's take a little bit of magenta, which is a cool red, and then add it. Let's see what it does if it mixes with the cerulean blue. Okay, that's giving us a pretty nice color. So let's put that where we see it. It's kind of over here. It's quite a bit showing up on the fin. I don't know if you guys can see, if you see what I'm seeing, this kind of a pinkish purple tone. Just gonna put that in different spots. Not being too precise. So we're painting for fun and for pleasure. Okay, so kind of stand back at this point and see what you want to add or what you want to take away. Maybe you want to blend a few things. I can see that maybe along this edge, I might want to carefully go along that edge to clean it up a little bit. And then I might want to do kind of downplay some of these lighter values here to make them blend in a little bit, even for the eye, because that white is just a little too intense. So I can just go blend with my brush. Okay. Okay, so I think we're gonna call that just about done. All right, so let's actually, before I do that, I see I wanna highlight, you can highlight this fin just a little bit more. So add a little bit of a white to make it stand out, and then take your darkest dark, your Payne's gray, and add that back in and around to give it a little bit more definition, give it more shape, contrast. And we need to be a little more precise with the edges. Okay, and you can see how that kind of really made it pop a little bit more. And then I just want to go back and kind of blend it in so it's not, so it doesn't look like it's not a part of the piece. Just light blending. Okay, so I think our shark is done. Thanks for watching. Keep painting. Try your best. Don't give up, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.